Because to this association, like achieve. But not so. I try to. I try Yes. Now we can talk about this. Someone speaker. You can't uncharge it as well. Good afternoon, all. This is our last session for this panel. Since yesterday, we've been having a swell time. Swell because we have been having reports and presentations and reactions that the presentations got from the presentations. Now we are going to have our last panel on Proverbs, African identity and cultural institution in the 21st century and beyond. We have 5 presenters, but I don't know if all 5 are around now. We have one physically. Then I know Dr. Taiwo is online, yes. No, I don't know if Dr. Asawa is there and Mamuchi also. But we are starting with Dr. Adepino and Dr. Victor Tunji Taiwo. The title of the paper is Sex-Related Yoruba Proverbs, Meaning and Interpretation for Today's Children. So please, you have, if all presenters are around, we have 15 minutes, but if not, to give you 2 minutes. Thank you very much. And then it's okay to you. I did it. I'm talking 13. Victor, sorry. I'm going from the Department of Theater and Performance. Your University of Fish. That is it. First of all, let's make a Proverbs. Meanings and interpretations of this truth. Just as we said about what Proverbs means, how they are used, both cultural translation and tradition of culture, and also as one of the outstanding oral forms of African traditions. So the minority also on definition, central meaning. So I will straight to the Proverbs among Proverbs. Proverbs really about division, figure and knowledge literature and have very hidden meanings for both bearer and speaker, and also have the functions that performs depending on the situation. Now, a lot of work have been done for now, Proverbs, looking at the functions by scholars. So, I just say, we are not really doing anything, but we are looking at it from the different perspectives. That's why we have cultivated for the normal aspect of orality or orality or orality, just like the now paper. But now we want to relate to children. That's what we about our research. Now we have some proverbs. Let me go to the So the aim of our study, like I said, to see how children can construct meanings and interpretations of sex related to that proverbs. Some questions are 3. We asked, how can children negotiate meanings with sex-related proverbs without considering it vulgar? Like I said, we had a paper that in the last session that dealt with vulgarism. Then 2, will the overriding factor of sex in Proverbs reduce its moral stance? That is,
when sex symbols are predominant in Proverbs, does it in any way take away from the meaning that it is intended to relate? Then thirdly, can learning effectively take place for children when sex-related proverbs are used without the children being, distracted? So those are the questions that our research sought to find answers to. Now, when we look at the concept of sex-related proverbs, we see that sex is a fundamental part of human experience. And we are all sexual beings. And there is no running away from the fact that sex is real to the adults and even to children, even though we fail to accept at times for our children. And in the traditional Yoruba culture, and also in some other cultures, sex is shrouded in secrecy. We don't want to talk about the parts of the body. We don't want to mention. We give different, names to them that will sound nice to the hearing of the children. We don't call the sex organs we're talking about with their real names. So our children, we try to protect them, seemingly try to protect them from being exposed to that. But when we look at the children, the digital age children, with the age of technology, they even know more than we do. Most of us are giving phones to our children, and you don't even know what they are doing with those phones. They even go to pornographic sites. They send their sex videos and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, we as parents are busy shielding them, not talking about these issues. So we want to look at this concept, how the proverbs with sex symbols, how are they seen within the Yoruba culture? What meanings do they portray? Of course, we'll have to know that they are also pregnant with meaning. The emphasis is not on the sex symbol, but on the message of the proverb itself. So that's also our concern. Now, for methodology, we carried out a qualitative research. We used 3 approaches. We used content analysis. The content analysis was for the proverbs. We selected 10 proverbs that are sex-related, and then we analyzed them in the context of this play. Then we had focus group discussion with 30 GSS 1 to GSS 3 students, 5 males, 5 females from each arm of the class. So we had a total of 30. And then we had interview sessions from 3 Yoruba scholars, teachers, and then enthusiasts. So those are how we went about our research and got our findings. Now, what we did first was the parameter for selecting these sex-related programs was that we looked at the different sex organs that we have in our bodies, and then sought for proverbs that related with those organs. Now, for the first one, we categorized into 5. We had the one that dealt with buttocks. We had the one that dealt with breasts. We had the one that dealt with copulation. We had the one that dealt with vagina, and we had the one that dealt with penis. So for the buttocks, because we felt that children, at least, the use of buttocks is like everyday, eating. They can say, "Bedi ekuro, bedi kuro." So they were used to that. It didn't really, sound so vulgar. So we took more from that because we wanted them to feel comfortable. We didn't want to shock them with the other ones that seem to be, that seem to sound, vulgar, thereby taking away their minds or their concentration from the study. So we chose 10 proverbs based on this. And there we have one, ilé làpótí ń jókòó dèjì. So that's for buttocks. That is, the stool will always be at home waiting for the buttocks to sit on it. Tí ìdí bá bàjẹ́, tó ní ìdí ló ń dà. So when the buttock gets hurt, the owner faces the repercussion. Then we have when ọmọ ẹni ò ṣèdí bẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká fìlẹ̀kẹ̀ sí di ọmọ ẹlòmíì. So your child's buttocks cannot look attractive, and then you string another person's child's waistline. Káró ṣọmọ́dì, káròdì má ṣọ, kídì má ti gbóko. Talking about, well, whether you use the cloth to cover your bumbo, your buttocks, or you use the buttocks to cover the rubber, the essence is that you don't want your buttocks to be naked. Those ones go for buttocks. Then we went to the one that had to do with breasts. We have two. It says, bí òkété bá dàgbà, ọmọ rẹ̀ ní í mu. That when the bush rat gets old, it feeds on his baby's breast, and this is reversal. Normally, it's children that feed on breasts. Now we're talking of adult feeding on breasts. Then we also have that's for omu. Then we have the one about copulation, sexual intercourse. There is more to having sex. There is more that comes after having sex. Then ẹni dóbò lẹ́ẹ̀kan tó bẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lù, okó rẹ̀ á tún lé lẹ́ẹ̀kejì. So an individual that after copulation hits the vagina will still come back when you have a very hard on. So we had that one. Then we talked about the vagina. Then we have akilóyún sínú káfòbò tọrẹ. You cannot be pregnant and give away your vagina. So how will you have a child? So they also have Akifokonla Derubarubo, that's talking about penis. So, that's saying that you cannot intimidate an old woman with a big penis. Doesn't mean anything. Then, Topo ba leton ki gbanu bante. So when the penis is hard, it can no longer contain the inner wear. Bante in Yoruba traditional setting is, in those days they would tie something like a cloth, but it's actually like the pants. So when you have a hard on, the penis can no longer contain the boxer or the pants. So these were the five categories that we put our proverbs in. And then we started picking them one after the other. The children, when we got children that could speak Yoruba, because proverbs are on their own languages. So with that understanding of the language, there is no way a child can understand the proverb of that language. So we chose students that could speak Yoruba, and their teachers also, were there. So we started with the ones that talked about buttocks. Like I said, we didn't want them to feel that, what are they coming here to teach us? So we started, like Yoruba would say, so we started from the little parts. So we had 4 here. Ilé làpótí ń jókòó dèjì, tí ìdí bá bàjẹ́, tó nídìí ló ń dà. Ọmọ ẹni ò ṣèdí bẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká fìlẹ̀kẹ̀ sí di ọmọ ẹlòmíì. Káró ṣọmọ́dì, káròdì má ṣọ, kídì má ti gbófo. And we have these images. Now, these images talk about, next slide please. Ilé làpótí jókòó dèjì. You can actually see the imprint of buttocks. Next slide. Next slide. Now, this is Ilé làpótí jókòó dèjì. We just picked some images. All these images are from the internet, please. So we picked this. You can see Ilé làpótí jókòó dèjì. You see the imprint of the buttocks on it. This actually has everything about the woman sexual organ imprint on this stool. Then we now pick the Tidi Babaje, Tony Dilonda. If you look very well, we just use this to represent what they're saying. This is the buttocks of hippopotamus now or something. I can't remember the exact animal. So, but we just use it to represent what we are saying, that when the butex gets spoiled, it becomes the burden of the owner. Then we talked about the issue of breast. Next slide. That bí òkété bá dàgbà, ọmọ rẹ̀ ní mú. So that the woman when we know, okay, maybe when I finish explaining the Proverbs, I'll tell you what the children thought about them. So we are trying here to depict the breasts. Now, in that context, we are talking about the bush rat, when it gets old, sucking the breast of its baby. Then, this is now about copulation. Next slide. We just put this, we all know what this means under the duvet. So, show there's more to sex. To have sex and you destroy the place, when you have a hard-on, there's nowhere to go back to. So, you also have this. This woman is pregnant. So, definitely this baby is coming out from somewhere. So, if she gives out her vagina, then how will she have the baby? So that's the import of that. And then we have Akifokonlade Rubarugo. You cannot see this old woman. She has seen it all. Big, small, slim, fat, and she's had experiences. So it doesn't mean anything to her. You can't scare her with any size of penis. Then we have the second one by it. The one of Tokoba Letoki Igbanu Bante. That when there's the penis is hard, it no longer contains the nika. So that's the imagery for that one. Now, what we discovered was that when we started with the children, and we explained the essence of our study to them. We found out what they knew about Proverbs. They gave us Proverbs they knew. We found out that they were Proverbs about educational aspects, moral, ethical. So we told them we are here to talk to them about sex-related proverbs. That there are proverbs that deal with sex and have meanings that are also moralistic and will help them in their work in life. So initially, they were reserved. Coming to children and saying, these are children between the ages of JSS 11 to 13, 10 to 13 actually, 10 to 13. So they were reserved. They were like, what are they saying? But with time, they became relaxed. Although they were Yoruba speakers, not all of them could speak Yoruba fluently, but they knew what we were talking about. They knew, because we also translated. They were the ones that actually translated the Proverbs. So when we give the proverb, they will translate literally. Then we'll begin to ask them the intrinsic meaning. What do you think this proverb means? Then they tell us, and we tell them, they create scenarios, they create situations, and then we guide them and they ask questions. In fact, it was during this study, we realized that some of them did not even know the name, the Yoruba name. They were asking, excuse me, what is Obo? So they didn't even know. And they are Yoruba children. So we have all that. Then after a while, by the time we advanced, we went to breast. That was the next one. And we saw that one too will not be so shocking, because at least we said, okay, now we are moving to the breast. And we gave that proverb, and they gave the interpretation, and then gave meanings to all these things. So after this interaction, we saw, before the teachers were also present, the Yoruba teachers, we saw that the children had loosened up, and they were given instances. They could draw allusions, they could make conclusions, they could draw meanings. So we found out that from this research, children can actually negotiate meaning irrespective of sex symbols in Proverbs, because their attention, the emphasis is not on the sex organ, but on the meaning. And they were able to decipher the meaning, to pull out the meanings and, apply appropriately to situations. And so the fact that sex symbols are prevalent in Proverbs does not take away from the meaning or from the moral or ethical stance of Proverbs. And we discovered also that learning effectively took place. So when we discussed with in our interview with the teachers, we also discovered that they have been streamlined. These are some of the where we made these recommendations. The government policy, the curriculum has specified the limits. There are limitations, there are boundaries that they can go to, the type of programs they can teach children in school. So this program can even be used for sex education for children. But government have come to draw a line, a dividing line to say, no, don't teach this kind of program, don't teach this kind of program. And then there are not enough Yoruba teachers in the classroom, actually. We had just two to teach GSS 1 to A to F, GSS 2, A to F. So they cannot do a thorough job. So we feel that government needs to, work on this policy, and then parents should speak indigenous languages to their children. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much for your paper. Been having a swell time today. In our last panel, we had a presentation about obscenity, vulgarity, and the alternative meaning in Igala, the Igala Proverbs. And the difference between what Doc has said and what they have said is the issue of the generality of the proverbs for both male, female, and youth. But theirs now is concentrated on children. And these children, we feel that they are children, we should not talk to them about sex. It's a big problem in the home. Like she said, with the phones they hold, they have access to so many things. We shy away from teaching them sex education. But how dare they know these things? Now, what I think this paper is trying to say is we could tell these children about sex using proverbs. And telling them about these proverbs does not mean we are teaching them the negative aspect of sex. We're just trying to draw meanings, allusions from these proverbs that would help these children in the future. That's what I think her paper is talking about. So it is harsh to the ear, like what Anthony Arthur said about theater of cruelty. Yes, when anybody hears about sex, it is shocking. It shocks them. But as time goes on, they feel they will loosen up and accept what is being propounded or what they are being told. Thank you, Dr. Adedino, for this paper. We hope that as we are seated there, we go back to our various places of work and even to our homes and start telling our children, teaching our children the real thing, our indigenous language. Because it's sweeter when you tell them these things in the indigenous language, and they would understand better. Because as you tell them this, you tell them to draw out the meanings of these things, they will understand better that you're not just telling them that the breast or the vagina is this, but you are trying to use that proverb to teach them something. Thank you. Now, we have another presenter online, Dr. Taiwo. Wow. Thank you. Yes. We have Dr. Taiwo.
Dr. Adekemi Taiwo.
Yes, sorry. We have Dr. Adekemi Taiwo from Ekiti State University. She's presenting a paper on rethinking cultural identity, Yoruba proverbs in my Bamiloye's Abejoye Christian films. Thank you. Please, would you start your presentation? You have 20 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to share my screen. My name is Adekemi Taiwo from the Department of Linguistics and Nigerian Languages, Ekiti State.
So much of what you say,
Mike Bamiloye Abejoye film.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Taiwo, please.
It should be network problem. I'm sorry. Mike Bamiloye's Abejoye film validates the uniqueness and significance of African literature and culture. This research work is premised on cultural theory. We did a qualitative and content analysis of selected proverbs the proverb was randomly picked from the movie series of Abejoye, season 6 and season 7. As we all know, Yoruba proverbs, just like any other African proverbs, play significant roles in shaping the society identity, moral values, and belief in the rich cultural tapestry of African nations. I want to try and share my screen. I'm so sorry. I was unable to get that. So the primary function of proverb is didactic. And Yoruba proverb is just like any proverb of any African nations that is used to enhance and back argument during conversations to unmask difficult situations or any hidden agenda that the speakers might have. The Yoruba Christian film serves as symbols of cultural renewal and preservation, as it remains one of the major sources of recontextualizing Yoruba images and portrayal of culture. That is why the Yoruba people will say, Owe leshi oro, oro leshi owe, boro bason owe, lafin wa. That is when there is something hidden, or maybe there is a mystery that the speaker of Yoruba want to unravel, that they use proverbs to provide a deeper meaning, to point to the fact that matter that they are discussing has to do with one thing or the other that needs to be open to the people, to the conversant. The literature of a society cannot be mentioned without the inclusion of that tradition. That's why I'm making use of the cultural theory. The cultural theory, which talk about the culture of a particular tribe, how they are preserving and how they are promoting their culture and their traditions, their belief, their worldview about situations, about things, and some other things like that. The study employs that cultural theory for its content analysis. The process of cultural theory refers to a process of belonging to a particular culture or groups, which involve learning about and accepting traditions, heritage, languages, their religion, their aesthetics, and thinking pattern. The data, as I earlier said, for this research were collected from the film Abejoye. After I have watched 6 and 7, and I downloaded it. It was downloaded from YouTube page of Damilola Mike Bamilola. The program was randomly selected. So I'll go straight to the data presentation and data analysis. It is observed that the film producer, Mike Bamiloye, adapted some Yoruba proverb as it pleasantly surprises its viewer in 5 major ways through the use of proverbs. Number one, by using pile-up proverbs. Pile proverbs used to draw home is to the people he's conversing with, and for the character to understand themselves and even to understand better what they are talking about. Number two, he used proverbs to explain proverbs, and he used to twist proverbs, and then use normal proverbs to question people concerning situation on what they are talking about. Yeah, and he also modifies proverb and narrates proverbial stories. So those are the points that we are going to consider. The film producer may use proverb ordinarily. He may use proverbs ordinarily in the sense of normal Yoruba everyday use. That is just anyone who is a Yoruba person, if he or she hears that proverb, will understand the meaning. It's an everyday proverb that is quite known to everyone. An example can be taken from the conversation between Balogun and the area assassin sent to kill Abejoye. Drawing from the examples from the film now, the assassin entered Abejoye's room in the night and used pillow to suffocate him. But when the pillow was removed, Olagori Eshin, the mastermind of the killing, was found on Abejoye's bed. So the area assassin did not understand what happened, and they narrated the event to Chief Balogun. Chief Balogun serves as an intermediary between the person that sent them, that is Olagori Eshin, that said them to kill Abejoye. So as they were narrating the story to Balogun, a call was received where he was informed that Olagori Eshin has kicked the bucket. He now responded through this proverb, Pakuteta adefaparu, agilinti lomu. A trap set for the partridge caught the lizard. It means that the trap that was set for Abejoye miraculously caught Olagori Eshin, and this simply implies that they have missed their target, as God sent angels to fight for Abejoye, whom they all believe is a mysterious man with an unexplainable power. From that proverb, we could see that Bamiloye uses a common proverb. He used the common proverb well known to all Yoruba language speakers, and even those who does not understand Yoruba, but who has a little knowledge about it, will understand that Pakoteto Adepaparu Agilinti Lomu, which shows the dexterity of the film producer in the usage of Yoruba cultural verbal laws. Bamiloye also uses regular proverbs to pile up proverbs that are related in order to amplify or to clarify issue or to drive home his point during discussion. For instance, when Chief Balogun answered Iyalode after the arrest of the issue of bribery, after they were arrested on the issue of bribery, that is the money they received from Olagori Eshin, who wanted to, by all means, due to his desperation, replace Abejoye, that made him to send Aya Assassin to Abejoye. Iyalode was trying to deny the fact that what she did is not bad by collecting bribe to connive together to work against Abejoye. And
Network. Thank you for that.
Turns back from the river. The above pile of proverb is used by Balogun to reiterate the fact that they are in trouble and there is no solution to the problem now. That is, the problem at hand when the police, the Balogun's wife have sent police to come and arrest them. So he was now trying to trouble that all the money they collected, they are going to vomit it. Chief Balogun made use of the pile of proverb and the riddle to inform the remaining chiefs who collect Olagori Eshi to note that there is no need crying over spilled milk again for them, as they have lost the opportunity of becoming rich. They thought that Olagori Eshi will eventually be enthroned as the chief kingmaker, but unfortunately, he died. So when he said Aberebolowa Adete Odete, the proverb can be said to be incomplete. That's another angle to that Proverbs. You know, the other time I said that we found out 5 different ways through which Bamiloye made use of Proverbs. The other one, another one is through the use of incomplete sentence. Proverb initially used to be divided into 2. We have the head and the tail of the proverb. So the proverb, Aberebolowa Adete Odete, the proverb can be said to be incomplete, as the concluding part is Orobale Odero. The opportunity can never be regained again. That was why the Balogun now said, Ìkòkò tó fọ́ ti dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn odò. The Yoruba used to, the normal way of saying that proverb is Kèrègbè tó fọ́ padà lẹ́yìn odò, which simply means the task expected of Olagori Eshi to be the chief kingmaker cannot be performed again. Bamiloye spied up 3 proverbs and a riddle to accept the fact that all the chiefs have lost the opportunity of becoming rich through the back door, through their dubious character of collecting money from Olagori Eshi. If a pot is broken at the riverside, it can never be used to fetch water again. So the chiefs have lost their integrity. Then another means of using proverb is through the modification of proverbs. There are usually 2 parts to the proverb, as I earlier said. So at times, the modification could come to the head of the proverbs or to the tail. For instance, when Chief Larry, one of the kingmakers, was pacifying Abejoye on the action of other kingmakers towards Abejoye while visiting him in his house, he said, Baba Abejoye, ẹ jẹ́ gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ tó ti di kókó kò ṣeé jẹ. Bá àbá gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ àná, a ò fi ìrọ̀rí wájú. It simply means, oh, Father Abejoye, let's forget all this issue. Let's forget yesterday's matter. Yesterday's pounded yam, which has lump that cannot be eaten. If we do not forget yesterday's matter, we will not see the people who collected bribe from Olagori Eshi.
Wow, they are really having network wahala, and it's making the session boring. However, her paper is basically on the modification of Proverbs. This modification could be at the beginning, middle, or end. And the modifications, this is better meaning. Because some of these proverbs, you could get the meaning at the end or at the beginning. But from what she has said so far, the film she used to discuss these proverbs, she has been able to pick where the meanings are in terms of the modification. The little she has said at least makes meaning to us. I don't know what else to say, but before she comes up again, we could ask the first presenter a question or comment. Thank you. Lisa, do you have any? Wow, she just sent me a message saying she's trying. Okay, it's raining in again. It's raining. She just sent me a message. Oh, please do.
Thank you, Dr. Yeah, this is well done, very yes, the fact that that area of study talking about issues surrounding sex, and you said the presentation is oftentimes an area that people do like to share with people. And unfortunately, we do forget that like Abraham has to rightly move in hierarchy of needs. You know, we always mention food, clothes, clothing, and housing. The person that theorized this major needs included sex. Okay, and also included sex as part of the needs of human beings for survival. But we decided to remove some of this and emphasize this video. So thank you for that insight into researching this area. I'm going to ask, through this research, did you find or were able to discover if some of these proverbs and some of these way of letting students know about?
Sorry, she has come back.
Okay.
Okay, can you continue, please? Network is still
Very much.
So please continue.
Okay, so by chance, you discover if maybe some of these ways of teaching them about sex, if in one way or the other, educate them about sexuality, maybe one way or the other, teach them about chastity or immorality, as the case may be, especially within the confines of the Yoruba culture. The culture of Yorubas, I mean the people of Yorubas, with these proverbs are such containment.
Yes, please react to it.
Yes. Like I said, when we introduce the programs, one page was translation. And for them to translate, these are the content. Now, based on the context, we ask them, what is the meaning? So, initially, they were still moving from the translation, bringing the translation into the contextual meaning initially. But we want to develop it. You have to give ideas. You have to talk. You have to push them to think outside the box now. Okay, see this as what we say. Before this situation, how do you give this time to give and get for this situation? And they started giving these answers. For instance, the issue of men and teacher to the I said, if they do something bad, and the mother wants them and the boy there, and then maybe after doing that, you decided you felt that nobody has seen it, or that you are not going to punish for it, and later on, they will now call you and say, hey, you did this. You need to be percussion. So that you need to go fast because they actually get contextual meanings and we are able to also explain them to the talk. Many will take this. And like I told you, some of them did not even know the genital names. So it was through this program, one of them asked, what to do? What to do? So sex education, that aspect is covered. And while we were teaching all this, we were breaking it down to their level. Talking about you doing the right thing at the right time. For instance, you see you cannot say now that you are studying, that is the time for you to face your studies. You should leave some other enjoyments for now. But take her home, you will be there. You will still come home to enjoy them later. So there are so many instances that all of the instances were actually brought down to learning, to situations that relate to them particularly as those ones growing up. They were not abstract at all because the essence was for them to be able to interpret and use. And then the latest scenarios where they use those proverbs themselves after they had known the contextual meaning. 2, 3, 4 people will say, okay, give us an instance and use the proverb. And they will be doing it and then use the proverb. So there will not start understanding. So they had by that time using them, they were prayer and the combination, whatever symbols were.
Thank you, please. She's on.
Okay.
She will not put on her videos. Please, Dr. Taiwo, could you continue?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So another means of using Yoruba proverbs to promote and preserve Yoruba cultural heritage by Mike Bamiloye is through the twisting of Yoruba proverbs, as it can be seen in some of the examples from the film. The shadow is, there's this woman, one of the characters in the film named Kinki Yiwu, when she was kidnapped by kidnappers. She was kidnapped by kidnappers and taken to their den. The Kinki Yiwu used to be a former head of witches in Abedoye's town, Ajibobi. So, but she has given her life to Christ. She has accepted Jesus Christ as her Lord and personal Savior. And now, when she was not kidnapped by kidnappers and was about to be killed, a shadow appeared to her. And the shadow was not trying to tell her that she should use her witchcraft power to deliver herself from the kidnappers. So the shadows encourages her to go back to her witch world, where she used to be very powerful then. When the shadow now talked, the Kinki Yiwu now responded by saying, "Ó padà sẹ́yìn bí iwájú ò ṣe lọ, ẹ̀yìn ó ṣe padà sí." She now said, rárá, kò sọ́nà lẹ́yìn, iwájú lọ́nà wà, iwájú ni wọ́n máa lọ, wọn ò ní rẹ̀yìn. Ordinarily in Yoruba, the Yoruba will say, iwájú ni ọ̀pá ìbí tí ń ré sí, forward swings the stick tied to the mud trap. The proverb is always used to encourage someone to press more for progress. Kinki Yiwu was encouraged to go back, but she used Yoruba proverb to reply her shadow by saying that she can never go back. You can see that Mike Bamiloye used that proverb to press home the point that it is better to press forward than to go back. It is better for Kinki Yiwu to go to press forward in that course which he has chosen. And through this means, my Bamiloye is teaching the upcoming generation some of the new proverbs in Yoruba by modifying the proverb and by twisting the proverbs. Another way, there's another way through which my Bamiloye uses Yoruba proverbs. It uses Yoruba proverbs by saying incomplete proverbs. Whenever you want to. Hello?
Hi, we are here.
Can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, ma. So, let me say in conclusion, Mike Bamiloye used Yoruba proverb in all his Christian films, especially in this Abejoye film that was chosen as our case study to reflect the philosophical beliefs of the Yoruba, and it also conveys moral lessons and spiritual messages. The proverbs, he used the proverb to show the film producer's mastery of Yoruba language and oral literature. It reveals his creative ingenuity to incorporate cultural elements, which made him to be known as the product of the Yoruba society. All this is quite showing that Mike Bamiloye loved the Yoruba language and the Yoruba culture, not minding the fact that he's a Christian and is preaching the gospel, which undermines traditions and cultural beliefs. So it is clearly a sense of beauty. Hello?
Hi, we are listening. Can you
Okay,
conclude? Can you conclude?
Okay, I'm already concluding. I said in conclusion, there is clearly a sense of beauty attached to all the proverbs, which appeals to the ear and to the imagination of the viewers. You know, a told and no doubt overriding value of proverbs demonstrated in the movie is that it can be considered, proverb can be considered as the storehouse of the wisdom of the Yoruba people, because most of the proverbs have a philosophical depth, which is as a result of a careful and sensitive observation of human conduct and experience, which is which he incorporated for his film. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, like I said before, that our work dealt with modifications, but listening further now, I saw that in the film, there is this call and response that we have in folk tale. So somebody starts the proverbs, another ends the proverb. For me, it's a call and response thing. Like, storyteller, allow, there's another person, allow, another person go, allow. And that's what Mike Bamiloye did with his proverbs there. Like she also said, there's this issue of incomplete proverbs. But somehow, midway into it, like she spoke about modification, the end of the proverb comes up. So you get the meaning in between the actors' dialogue scenes. Thank you very much for that. Do we have other comments and questions?
Yeah. So that's
Please, can you?
with regards to I think we have I think looking at what the presentation is trying to say, how do we teach the children, sex related problems without violating their innocence? I think the problem we have is that we don't have something to project whatever we are passing to the younger ones with fear. The question is that how innocent are these children, even when they have all these pictures in their body? How innocent? After all, they use it for one purpose, but due to the nature of what we know, what we perceive and the danger, we perceive that can come with, them doing it. And I think it is important that we pass, the knowledge of all these things to them ahead, because in order to avoid, negative curiosity. Oftentimes, when children know that you are hiding something away from them, man is naturally wired to be curious. They will look at it. Apparently, that means there is something, palatable that they are hiding away from me. Let me go and test it. Let me go and try it. Personally at the point, I have, my 3-year-old boy. What is I thought, is very. What is this? No, this is not true. This is very. This is your phone. I let him know and I told him because the point that you are using it to relate. There are several things that you'll be able to use it to do. It's a source of enjoyment. It's a source of procreation. Because whether we like it or not, out there they will teach them. Yes. And if they teach them, we only think that by the virtue of them knowing what is being used for is data. No. The data lies in the fear of God or the appropriateness of the time for them to use this particular thing. So, and I think at their level, hearing about it does not trigger the misuse of it. It is the nature that triggers it. And if we could instill the knowledge, the appropriate knowledge in them before they get to that stage, it will not be a kind of shock, it will not be. And I think if we can actually conclude this paper as a kind of suggestion to the government to know, because we are academics, we are meant to educate us, to propose solutions. I think the earlier the better in this age of mass, sex abuse and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mine is almost like this. Like the concept of unlawful formal relating. When you treat the program, you are trying to know the program like that. So one day, you guys know what do you mean again? I'm trying to put this program at what I know. The child is innocent. He are not. You say that in his mind, I wish your is like water. So when you go, the child gives the program and talk about the race. When you come back, you say to him, you say, my son, I think that's the program at what the child will say no. I feel that all Proverbs, that's what I have to say. According to the context it's in our uses, I know children will actually, like the story I told you in the morning, like some of these parts are used metaphorically because of the young ones, and they can be played like a song said that is the whole. Somebody now was telling this number or in fact most children having this problem. What is there? Apple. Hey, let me tell you, we take the child and corrupt the child. But when we teach it at home, tell them that this is it. I believe we call it a spade. It's spade. A child who will spoil.
In fact, it will create a kind of discord. If my mom or my dad tell me this, and another, and then when they encounter problem, they will not come. They will go outside.
So I believe, like some of these, like the children make some of these things. Because we hide it from them, and it has a negative and positive connotation. When somebody from us, like one of my friends went to London, when he came back, somebody was already educated child in sex. Then he said, no, what's your sex? Because sex are a boy or a girl. He said, no. I said, no. They're very popular in Nigerian family. I don't sorry their name now. Say, sex is when the baby is touching. Yes, and when the woman does get out of the country, only on. I know about sex now, but they have to be touched. And woman called me and said, Joel, it's in I'm going to touch my child. And they see somebody has come and said, this child who taught this girl this thing, the age difference between them, that's Benita was 10, the girl was 12. So please, I am not protecting that we should teach it the way it is. But explain the context to them. Because my children, if they kiss in film, my children will start, this is adult sin. this is adult sin. When they were little, this is adult sin. I remember my child telling me that, he said, look at this girl walking in the night. And she's wearing white, they're going to make up. You know about it. They're like, you are brilliant. Something that I do not afraid. So I'm actually having this woman. I know, Daniel, your brilliance are beginning to doubt once she has left top of it to go out. Now she's a doctor. You know that kind of thing. She has never been better to me. Tell them, I tell my children, if anybody tell you want to marry you, are not planning, tell me. And I will go in my full rebellion to that person. So you don't need to come and say that, yeah, you're not perfect. Don't marry no culture. Don't marry, you have to be able. But at 21, I'm not saying God. So they already know. If you teach children don't know, like saving yourself, please teach them.
And that's something I love that. I remember because we this thing, there was a time I went out for that. Yes, it's that I knew all the time to curriculum certification. And the young man was teaching certification. That young man don't get there. They use condom. No one about teaching them even the curriculum, the content. Was teach. Certification does not mean having that sexual intercourse. You stand up, you prevent pregnancy. Don't want to tell them it's just be trying about sex. Because that was to prevent. So the thing they don't have those don't have. But this education to me is beyond that. It's not awareness of our things we are. Know that this change is going this is what I'm doing, it's natural, this is what I'm doing for this one part of what I can do, and this is how I can prevent misuse, this is when I can start using them. So it's totally different. And this young boy, young man in NC, please, those ones in class, the tiny thing, and that's so that's what I was embarrassed. Because the people have manner of approach to way that the technology way to teach it, you're not saying we just put the penis inside the vagina when you are having sex. You know, people for school and it says people. So you understand. So I really agree. Like I told you when we started, the children were. You know after we settled the issue of started to do that. And the teachers were there. They were no longer shy. The teachers who are contributing, the teachers who the teacher, they didn't do that.
You go to the sleep.
But they stand up. And so now they were saying yes, then they were not contributing. So they started to be saying, the mission, and I also said,
Nature reason for addiction or deprivation because when nature comes to spreading, no one to talk to. That's why most of them exactly. So we parents, especially parents have this responsibility. When we parents, make ourselves available, we'll be able to tell them this is how to smell it. This is how to do because so many people are really looking for a way. They don't want to do it. They know the consequence, but they don't have any other way out. Then we will do it.
When things are shrouded in secrecy. When things are shrouded in secrecy, people want to. I have discovered that if you are open about something, people don't like secret calls. Somebody told me, you are in Kenya and this. But everybody will and inside there. So we don't to that. But when you come to a shrouded in secrecy, you understand? Even students, we don't talk about sex. When they ask us to be their mentor, I just told them, if you know how many places ahead, my DNA block, you know, you are open to this and see that. So I said, hey, you people want told me that the father was abusing now.
This is what it is, George.
Do you understand? It's okay. So I went to the other person and said, I dropped to them. I think I dropped. I told him that you said the man, First, I have to tell you, I forgot what you tell me. I said, we should, but let me tell you, it's not good. And later, the guy came to tell me that the man came to tell me that it thanked me, that he now knew that it was bad. It was very bad, and that he wanted to give himself as not feel yourself. As you go now, now you catch your leg, you blame it on your wife. You are still blaming anybody. You don't know. Now you know that it's bad. Stop saying it. But if you remove secrecy, if you remove secrecy from a lot of things, will be a better show, will be a better place. Wow. And then other comments for Dr. Taiwo. Dr. Taiwo, are you still there? It's no longer there. Oh my God. Well, it's another interesting. It has been another interesting session. Interesting because some of us don't know things about Proverbs, just feel that it's a moral, a saying that okay, it's a moral saying, it's a wise saying. I've not heard all these Proverbs. Now, with this, yes, so some of them really hear what it is software. We also there's not an ever know. When the husband and the wife they have this, that of the there was a case of the husband and wife. It was a case of husband and the person that initiated this and I told you, mother, the wife said, doesn't give me money and say he wants to sleep with you. I don't think I don't need anything. So the person that was said, any two of us going to be what? When you identify the life, what does that mean? If you cannot bring the mouse, now then you call you last of your own, I want to enter. Can't be that day. Thank you for those. You see, like, there are many Proverbs that there are so many, but we just highly, and that is why they don't it's time. It's not time. When you discuss it like that, I will tell you that man is talking to him. I'm going to go back. Yes, I will be back. I've even had some people. Then I go to Dr. Akamu. That's a right. I'm telling you, there's never had a problem. Because my husband sometimes he will tell me, and because the situation brings the problem. He said, even if you ask him, come, prof, where did you get this? He said, if you grew up in the village, you may know a lot of things. Because the villagers, they will say things, but we just to explain everything. So every time I'm talking to my husband, I explain I say, it's too much. And it's a real Yoruba person. Yes. You will tell me Yoruba, you write this well. So don't worry, I can write it. When I go to Yoruba in my place, this one before. Because they are cosmopolitan. When you go to the village, you go to the interior, you will get they are that will overwhelm you. So the problem are not dying. What we need to say. And the context which is used is becoming cosmopolitan. And that's why we have to teach it. Now, when we do this ourselves, there are many people who are not anything. It's becoming cosmopolitan in the sense that, and there are some words you cannot even translate. Yes, translate. Because if you translate, you use your imagination. Like when we use man, maybe I was something that is Mumbai. If you see this 2 months, we were looking for this Mumbai. I showed them also dictionary online. They said no, the girl said not a bar. Before, one day I was sleeping, didn't have only storage. Storage. You go back. It is built like a hut. It's a hut. This is where they use cheese. So that is their storage, not a bar. Because the proverb says, he who sets his bar on fire knows where it fetches money, not where the actually fetches money. So I think just all of us people, that's where bar is down. No. So some of this translation, you have to look at it carefully. If not, it will die in translation. Yes. We want to use its meaning. That's why I told that lady, humanity theory. She was looking at it from one part. It is the closest way to interpret it to the nearest language that everybody will understand it. Not really the full meaning, but when we say but there are some language you can never. Like when I remember you say, "Oh, you my daughter called one go expert." Oh, what is wrong with you? You must say, "It's the kind of I don't enter fire today." When I say this girl, I have to see but I don't know for you. She because when she say, "Oh, you that one you I say, "Oh, you my son," but that's for you. I've no translation in English. I do translate. Yeah. Expand. Like I would say, well, I do translate. So sometimes in translation, we use one of the but that does not mean that the proverb understand what it's so.
There's also some other thing that we discovered. You know, the clearness of this children are not I say, those people speak proverbs, they're not true. They themselves don't know. And I think it's a pleasure to know about it. So, how do you I was somebody was facing the issue of, and we really teach them this, not to say, it's from the house. Because they don't know. Most of them do. Okay, imagine the parents of a taxi here. Yeah, I'm looking at books. One in Lagos.
Unfortunately, Yoruba to be removed as a compulsory subject of secondary school.
Yes, well, it's not like Lagos state that we pass.
And the Lagos is not compulsory. And that's one of the reasons why we use that Yoruba language for plenary sessions as the national state house of assembly. It gives you for everyone.
But because we're not the research we are doing, we discovered in 10 schools where to not to Yoruba.
Yes, you are very correct. Because there is
and in the curriculum, in this curriculum, they said Yoruba should be a language of instruction from primary 1 to 3.
Yes. The point is this: one, how many Yoruba scholars do we have? Two, with those ones that we are talking about who call themselves Yoruba teachers, their understanding, their mastery of the subject itself is an issue. Fundamentally, when you don't see them, the majority of them who even study this, they are no longer interested in going to the class to teach Yoruba language as a subject. Rather, they want to find themselves in banking industries and what have been other places as a result of the economic aspect of the entire thing, that they are making some money to survival. That's it. So another thing is that they relegate themselves to the background that they must not hear that I went to university, I went to college to study Yoruba language. I mean, it's an erroneous mentality on the part of such kind of scholar who believes in so. For that reason now, there is that shortage of Yoruba scholars. There is that shortage of Yoruba scholars within the society. And that's why we cannot get them. And those ones we get, they encrypted too much. For example, one that's in a whole school, I could let me give an example. I taught at international school Yoruba language for 12 solid years. And I was, yes, for 12 solid years. And I was the only Yoruba teacher in that school. I was teaching from JS1 down to SS3. And I made it known to them that the point is this: you need to get a Yoruba person. Those who have become believing, who not get any one of them, who could measure up to be able to teach Yoruba language in that place. So it's a nation. So I have to say, look, at this point, I cannot be the only one teaching. Let's just pick one out of this one. Maybe one will train that person also. I don't know, like the person already.
I just said something about Don't say For example, putting the food. I was raised like most kids are raised now. Thoughts, English, it's together language. Like now, I was going to do my 6 months and I was going through periods. Then, I think that is so intense. And then when you're going to need the language or anything, so now I know we really got a lot of sense to ourselves by the loss of our language. Modernizing yes, what are languages? Language is a vector for communicating. There's communicating words, anything. Feelings, ideas, thoughts, knowledge system, it's a paper. Now, I am focusing on the history of mathematics, trying to study Yoruba maths and all. The issue and certain complexities in Yoruba maths. And for example, when the Yoruba talk about their reality that the Yoruba numeral is much more complex than the Roman numeral. Absolutely. Now, when the Yoruba is talking about the numeral, he is explaining the mathematical operation. For the English, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, like lots memorization. But for the Yoruba, when it talks about maybe CCP, because he says that many children for less than the time the student doesn't have to memorize that, but he only knows he's already learning subtraction like that without being forced. So when you want to talk about 100, it's like 20 times 5.
Do you know that?
So
Yeah, do you know that the name even given to mathematics is not mathematics. Actually, not that's a big yes. Yeah, no, I sure. It's almost 100
yes.
Yes.
What about the flow of policy? So it's language of construction issues. What do you like foundation? They talk of the science, maths. Really something about that. Every other subject, social studies, everything. And when you are grounded in your number one, yeah, English is not the problem at all. Fine art, you speak well.
Because you think about
You speak in your language, but that's not rooted in English.
Yes.
Something
and sometimes the language you thinking, like I'm ashamed to say it. I'm not in Yoruba. But I think my children know so many proverbs because I say it in English. I will say it in English. I said the stick that come out of Logan cannot outside the cable. All of my Nigerian proverbs, I say it to them in English. So when they talk, and I think another thing talk to one it was saying, because I'm talking to this here. How we feel that I'm talking to Dr. Del with me. You speak proverbs and say you are a fellow, you cannot speak Yoruba. The thing is that we don't find our language fancy. All my children can communicate excellently in French. But we brought the right guy in the house. They said the man is too wicked.
That is one of
He's bringing some things to the table. But they have reached A1. They don't check. They don't check. They don't manage the facets. They'll pass it up. They cram it for the president after that.
There was a study carried out by late Professor Basfakura, I think back then. The study was that sweep it up. Look now, sweep it up, don't sweep up, expect everything, sweep everything up. That's not done. Yeah, that's the one. It's coming out. The late professor behind that project, he was 6 years project. Yes, 6 years project. The man behind that project is the one that was told you to implementation of that. Exactly. What is it? As that time, Professor Papuas implemented every subject. Exactly. From primary school, I saw the textbooks like what he did there was that from primary one, I put up primary one, from primary one down to primary 6,
And just go online like that. The same set of students looking for that primary one, like that primary 6 play. They were teaching them Yoruba language. Primary 1B. There's another set of students from that primary 1B to primary 6B. They were teaching them English. Now, I was teaching all the subjects. So they were using the two languages to teach them, whether it's sciences and whatever. Eventually, when it got to the second primary 6, there was need for them to be examined. Now, then I exposed them to the examination. To me, you have to present it. Examine them with the two languages which they'll be using. The result, you have to then they realize that those they use no bad language, they teach class, they revise, they creativity everywhere, they understand everywhere. Then those they use English language for. Meaning that they were with Yoruba language. They were using the mother tongue, that is the first and the end one, to reason, to do everything. Because when the question is put before you cannot reason in English language. You will reason in that indigenous language. You can only use that language, which is that of English, which is official language, to express that as submitted as that within that context. So say this is that the indigenous language cannot be overemphasized. We are seeing you now. And this is getting more like very part online. Then it's not challenge that majority of the people even have to start listening to them. Like when the project application of mathematics, two things that okay, can you start now? We have Dr. Finance Sogwa online now. Let it just talk for like 3 minutes. No, it's 5:10 now. So we have 5 minutes left. Please quickly say something. Thank you. I think they need to call the attention of the technical units to that. Please, Dr. Ifeanyi, could you start? So, is it on?
Now, mathematics has changed so many students.
So many of them.
Now, the focus that in driving that sector, if they were not scared of
Can do you actually develop that side? As far as I'm concerned,
Without
mathematics, the invention.
But then it depends on the manner with which we are communicating the ideas to them.
Yes.
Using the rightful language or languages for them to have better understanding. Which means we need to employ the services of other indigenous languages now as channels of personalized listening across to them. So that they can be able to understand perfectly well. So, every time is in life, but you don't know that talk. This I see your picture there, you don't speak. Everything is mathematics on you, everything is you can't abuse but please that we listen to you. All right. Open and English on mute. Speaker. Okay,
What is one? One.
hello, fine.
What is one number?
Hello.
Everything is abstract. Because
Hello.
one, the whole number. 10 and we have numbers.
Yes. Hello. Hello, can you just talk. I'll put the phone on speaker. Go buy my credit to not the one. Please continue.
Okay. My name is Ifeanyi Proverbs. Proverbs.
The Zoom is can be louder than that.
Hey, please. Sign our appointment. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Our father, thank you. Shall reach out to you after we discuss in the some of guys. No, for let's say, papers. We have made reasonable comments and corrections in the paper. So please do the correction so that once we come for it,